But first up, we're going to talk about the one that I've wanted all summer, well since probably the start of last season. That is Fabinho to Manchester United, with the betting odds have been absolutely slashed with one company. It's a little bit of an advertisement, but let's take it back to yesterday, where Fabinho spoke to the French press and said that he wanted a new challenge. A great challenge could be Manchester United and, of course, Jose Mourinho's men. In terms of Fabinho, a very tenacious central midfielder, formed a really good partnership with Bakayoko in Monaco's quest to win the Champions League last season. They got to the semi-final, they got so close, and poor old Gigi Buffon stopped the party. But in terms of what he could do for United, I think he could either play at right back or, of course, at defensive midfield. With Antonio Valencia looking so good in that position, it'd be a good backup, because I don't think United don't have that sort of depth at right back, of course, with the likes of Fosu Mensah and Tuanzebe going out on loan. Maybe a late move in January can be the one. Live from the kitchen, of course. The kitchen is the best place to talk about football. This is where me and my girlfriend discuss tactics, formations, 4-4-3s, 3-4-5s, you know what I mean? All the fun. Make sure to get into the comments what you think about this Fabinho story. Is it a good move for Manchester United? In the last 3 seasons, only Immobile and, of course, Lacazette have scored more goals from the penalty spot than the Monaco central midfielder. Something that United have struggled with in recent seasons. We saw Rooney go through a bad spell, Lukaku miss a few penalties this season. Maybe Fabinho can be that guy to step up and put the ball in the back of the net from 9 yards. But anyway, let's get into the comments. Do you think it would be a good move for Manchester United? Of course, there's rumours around other players moving on, coming together, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on, the love story at Manchester United. But Fabinho to Manchester United, would you take him? Or maybe Vidal, who's also been heavily linked over the last few days, could be a good move for United, but a little bit older, a little bit more Mourinho-esque in terms of the age, 30 years old compared to Fabinho, about sort of 24 years old. Fabinho would be great. That's coming in from Dexter. Would Fabinho replace Matic? That is an interesting one. In the summer, it was sort of Fabinho or Matic to play holding midfield for Manchester United. But I think with the flexibility of Fabinho either playing in central midfield or at right back could be quite interesting going into the future. We saw the great job that Fabinho did in the Champions League, especially against Manchester City, at pressing high up the pitch. Something that United lack a little bit, and with Sanchez obviously coming in, they're going to start to press a little bit more. So Fabinho could be the perfect guy to get up the pitch and win the tackles and simply retain the ball, ship it to Paul Pogba. It was such a good link last season between Fabinho, Bernardo Silva, likes of Mbappe and Lamar. It was all about Fabinho taking the ball, winning it back and then slipping it on forward. But I want to know in the comments, Vidal or Fabinho, who do you guys want to get in Manchester United if it's a late move? Of course, Scott McTominay's just flown into the comments. I love Scott McTominay. I think he's a wonderful footballer. I like how he sort of, he plays with such a passion and aggression that you kind of don't see in some central midfielders at Manchester United, and he's got that. He's got that sort of bite. And obviously, if someone like a Vidal or Fabinho came into the side, poor old Scott McTominay. Big comment coming in from Dr. Kingpin, I think it is. Fellaini out, Fabinho in. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, guys. But, Jorginho is dropping into the comments from Izzy. Jorginho would be a great signing. More of a Michael Carrick than maybe, your destroyer, your Mourinho classic defensive midfielder. But I think there's definitely a space in the squad. But over someone like Jorginho, I'd probably prefer to get Julian Weigl. I think Julian Weigl is a wonderful footballer. I just went on a bit of a sidetrack mission this week, and I watched Borussia Dortmund versus Borussia Mönchengladbach. Dortmund won 6-1. One of the passes Julian Weigl played to Aubameyang into the channel was unbelievable. So if it's Jorginho versus Wijnaldum, I go with not Jorginho versus Wijnaldum. Start that all over again. Julian Weigl, sign him up straight away. The news is not about Jorginho. It is, of course, about Fabinho to Manchester United. The betting odds have been slashed. But that's about it. Let's move on to the next topic of discussion. That is big Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Zlatan got injured last season. It broke my heart. That knee injury crushed me. For a guy that was carrying United in an attacking sense, it was a real hard blow, especially his performances. Remember the game against Saint-Etienne? Cheeky little hat-trick, completely controlled the game from the striking position. It was brilliant. Now, Zlatan's record for Manchester United, of course, 17 goals in 28 games. But for me, it could be time to move him on. Of course, he's a big sort of part of the wage budget. He hasn't really looked as sharp as he did the season before, so maybe it's time for him to move on. He's been heavily linked with David Beckham's new franchise in the MLS in Miami, baby. We still don't have a name for that team, but it's in Miami. Football Miami was the hashtag that was going around today. David Beckham flirting a little bit with Zlatan, launching his franchise and saying that Zlatan Ibrahimovic would be a great addition to the MLS. There's other rumours that are going around that Zlatan is talking to LA Galaxy. Given that the Miami team will start in the MLS in 2020, it could be a little spell at LA Galaxy, then maybe a spell at David Beckham's team, then why not go over to Denver as well, or Colorado? I'd do it if I was a footballer getting all that money and having all that fun. But anyway, let's move on to the last little bit of today's discussion. But first, let's get into the comments. I've not jumped into the comments for a little bit of time. Give the king some time. A lot of talk about Marouane Fellaini, which is our next point of discussion, so hold up all your Fellaini glove, tuck it inside and just wait for that. Zlatan goodbye, that's coming in from Neil. I kind of agree there, it's probably time. I think Alexis Sanchez holds the position of the sort of the heart of Manchester United's attack. We saw his performance, of course, against Yeovil Town, an unbelievable display from left midfield. What was so interesting about that is that he had the most touches, the most passes, and created the most chances, had the most shots on goal when he was on the pitch. It was really interesting to see how he does move around and he does come deep. United have got quite a lot of players now that make that opposite movement. Anthony Martial, Rashford and Lukaku, or Juan Mata even, like to make that run in behind. So having that little bit of balance, a little bit of control from a player like Alexis Sanchez, absolutely fantastic. Last little bit of comments there. Zlatan equals a legend. Cheers for everything. Dave, the possibility of Howson returning to the ring. I'd fight Howson. And I'd probably win easy. The guy, his shoulder is gone, a pretty bit of a weakness, so you know, if you ever get into the ring with Howson, if you get a grappling contest, you pick out one of his shoulders, it's game over. So, you know, the possibility, probably not. David Beckham, are you watching? Are you a fan of the channel? That is from Chris. Chris is a legend. Producer Chris, big shout out once again. I'd love to see Zlatan at Colorado Rapids. That comes in from Oliver Kearney. That would be, you know, interesting. MLS is a really interesting league where it's sort of, you know, moving on and new franchises are popping up left, right and centre, and Zlatan would be a great addition there. But of course, it's Alexis Sanchez, Manchester United in attacking sense from now on. Moving on to the final topic of discussion, the love story. The greatest love story since Cinderella and Prince Charming. That is Marouane Fellaini and of course, Mourinho. What Mourinho and Marouane Fellaini did against Ajax in that Europa League final was absolutely incredible. They focused on Lasse Schöne, they bullied him out the game. Ajax's deep-lying playmaker, but of course Marouane's contract ends in the summer. This is scary news, guys. He could go. I want to see a lot of crying emojis in the comments right now. Stay Marouane, please. Of course, United have offered £125,000 per week for Marouane Fellaini to, you know, sign another deal at United if he wants more. Potentially, it's time for the love affair to end. It's time for Mourinho to let him go. Been watching a little bit of Lazio recently. You ask why, Dave? Well, the next Marouane Fellaini plays for Lazio, and that is, of course, Milinkovic-Savic. A fantastic central midfielder that has Fellaini's height, has his physicality. Lazio, in a way, use him like a lot. You know, they use him for the long ball in a way. He sort of drifts up. We'll get into sort of a position near Immobile, their striker, and he'll look for those flick-ons or he'll use his body to sort of bring the play up. The thing that Milinkovic-Savic, Sergi to his pals, has that Marouane Fellaini doesn't is that ability on the ball. You know, 7 goals in Serie A this season, 2 assists. He's a better ball player than Fellaini, so for me he's the next version. He's Fellaini version 2.0. So if Fellaini doesn't want to throw the towel in at Manchester United, I of course will be massively upset. Marouane Fellaini has become one of those guys at United that in certain games is such an asset and such a weapon, and especially in that Europa League run, Fellaini was a king. But if he doesn't sign the contract, of course, Lazio, Milinkovic-Savic could be the perfect midfielder for Manchester United. If they want to play a 4-3-3, that is, of course, right now into the comments straight away. Thoughts on the FA Cup draw? So Manchester United will play either Birmingham or Huddersfield Town. That's an interesting one. Birmingham, of course, in terrible form. They are pretty close to the bottom in the Championship. Huddersfield Town, we deserve to give them a little bit of a beating because they caught us out mid-season, didn't they? With you know, the 2 goals that they scored in that quick succession. I want to get some revenge on those guys. Hi, Dave. Yeah, hi. That's me. But anyway, we love Fellaini. That comes in from Nathan Wilson. Wenger in, Wenger not in. Wenger has said some really nice stuff about Manchester United, and you know, back in the day when Ferguson was going to leave in 2004, Wenger was one of the candidates that could have taken over, and I think then would have been perfect for Wenger. But now Wenger, Mourinho in, Wenger out, get out of here. Back into the comments. So we want to talk about Marouane Fellaini. Do you want him to stay or do you want him to go? Vidal in for Juan Mata. That'd be an interesting change to see Vidal running up that right wing, pressing. He does it for Chile, to be fair. He's played number 10 for them before, with Sanchez ahead of him and another striker, you know, usually a target man, pressing through the middle. But it's about Marouane Fellaini. What do we want to do? I want to talk about Manchester City. I've just seen a signing in there from Spencer Barnett. We're not going to talk about that. We're talking about Marouane Fellaini. Who cares about him? Who cares about Manchester City? Because I certainly don't. Thoughts on my fellow Swede, Victor Lindelof? That is from Eric Anderson. I am a big fan of Victor Lindelof. I think he's a fantastic footballer. When you watch him live, you get a better understanding of what he can do and how he can move the ball and manipulate it from centre back, which for me is one of the biggest assets in a team, to have a player that's so confident that can step out and link with the attackers. Victor Lindelof, the next Swedish hero in a way, of course, if Zlatan does leave for Miami, baby. Fellaini off to West Ham? No, please, no. Not Fellaini and David Moyes again. We've already had that once. We don't want to see it again. We don't want to see that again at all. Anyway, guys, one little check of the comments, one last comment. Get it in right now. Fellaini to stay, Fellaini to go, Zlatan to stay, Zlatan to go, and of course Fabinho in or Fabinho out. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to get your comments in, and then that is going to be that. Statman Dave out here straight away. But here we go. How far do you think we'll get into the Champions League? I think with Marouane Fellaini we'll get a lot further. Anderson Talisca, greater than Fellaini. Anderson Talisca's a really interesting player. Whenever I watch Besiktas or watch Benfica, he's always like, he's not really in the game. He usually plays attacking midfield, usually behind a striker. He just won't do much in the game, and then he'll bang a goal in from like 40 yards. He's a really interesting player where I'd like to see a team like a Besiktas maybe play through him a little bit more, but not through the wings like they do. So, no, he's a great player, but I think Marouane Fellaini is greater than Anderson Talisca right now. Fellaini in, Struntman in. That is not a name I've heard linked with Man United for a while. Fellaini stay. Fabinho, great comments, guys. Vidal and Fabinho. Imagine that as an aggressive midfield. Maybe put Paul Pogba up front if you're going to play it like that. Keep Fellaini for a bag of 4 bags of chips a week and too expensive otherwise, is it? Cool. Go Dave, I like this. Angel Gomez in now, that is what we want to see. Very interested in the under-23s with a lot of young talent on display. The likes of course, Chong, Angel Gomez and Buna. Like a bit of Buna. Very, very talented young player. Tony Kroos would be good. But anyway, guys, I think that's it. That is going to be it for tomorrow's transfers today. Of course, subscribe if you are new to Full Time Devils. And give a shout out to Producer Quiz. Tweet at FullTimeDEVILS. Producer Chris is a legend. That's the hashtag. That's what you need to do. And I've been Statman Dave. I'll see you later. Over and out. Till tomorrow.